I wonder if you guys can spot this suit with this piece. To me, the most obvious issue is the lighting source. In this piece, you can clearly see a strong light coming from the bottom right. The artist also remembered to this during the underlight initial value block and cell shading stage. But for some reason, they suddenly decided to switch to backlighting, so they darkened the entire piece. As a result, all the rendered details vanished, leaving the lighting in an awkward state that's neither clear backlighting nor proper underlighting. What do we call this class? It's overcomplicating things and getting stuck on both ends. So right from the start, we need to find a clear light source. Personally, I prefer underlighting, so let's go with that. I usually use a high contrast color for the initial to tone shading. Cell shading we can easily adjust the color later anyway. Select the cell shading layer, turn on alpha lock, and recolor it with an airbrush. Here's how it looks after recoloring. As mentioned earlier, the image was darkened to McCoverall, so we need to pop the lights. Select the cell shading layer, tap select, and then invert. Now everything outside the shadows areas is selected. Create a new layer, using the airbrush to boost the bright areas, and remember to set it as a clipping mask. Like this, currently fine-tuning the effect. Step 1 is complete, let's check out result. Step 2 is to tone down these harsh bright blue accents. Let's pause for a quick mini tutorial. Take a piece of red silk as an example. When shading, many people tend to pick a color from the bottom right of the color wheel for shadows. Just like this, notice how it looks. While this shading logic is technically correct, it feels pretty outdated. If we try a different approach and pick a lower saturated, grayer tone, doesn't it look much more clean and translucent? Here's the formula. Light-colored objects take standard shading, while dark-colored objects use lighters, low-saturated shadow tones. Alright, moving on to the next step. I'm now pushing the highlights even brighter on top of the new value structure. Here's a personal stylistic habit of mine. I keep the facial features, especially the eyes, a bit softer, and brush a light skin tone layer over them to soften the look. Here is the result. Applying the principles above, we enter the long rendering process. If you're unsure how to render details, check out my detailed rendering tutorials. Now it's time to tackle the background. I always thought those blue and white shapes in the back were fox's tails or something, but after asking, I found out they're actually waves. So I removed them entirely and replaced them with flowing ribbons and hair strands from an off-screen source. Doesn't it still feel a bit empty here? I'll use a go-to classic element white birds to fill the composition. Make sure the background doesn't draw focus away from the main subject. Simple flat to tone shading just enough. I cheated a bit here and used a sets brushes. Placing one bird in front of character immediately makes the composition feels complete and balanced. Since the character is in a dark environment, duplicating the character layer, turning it white, and adding a slight blur behind them creates a nice glowing rim light effect. Finally, using elements from the original piece, I'll draw a sun-like graphic motifs in the background. The sun motif in the original felt a bit too basic. I used asset stamps again, tweaked them slightly, and added some sparkling particles, and we're all done. Thanks for watching to the end. Feel free to drop any questions in the comments below. See you next time, if there is a next time.